Alright, it's time to do this shit. Let's vlog. And roll. I have not rode a bike since I was like 12 years old. And it just occurred to me that I don't really fit on this fucking bike. But I'm determined to find a badass spot to vlog so I can record this video about being confident, overcoming your flaws and insecurities, and living life. God, such a beautiful day. I almost wiped out there. Wow. Amazing fucking day. Everything is so amazing today. I'm here at White Rock Lake trying to record this vlog about flaws and insecurities, but I haven't found a good camera spot yet, and the wind's kind of fucking up my day a little bit. But anyways, looks like the wind's chilled out for a bit, so I'm gonna go ahead and do this intro. So everybody's got their flaws and insecurities, and I've noticed a lot of people tend to kind of struggle with this and have a real hard time dealing with these kind of situations. And you know, whatever it might be, maybe you think you're too short, too tall, too big, too small, you're fat, you got a belly going, you don't make enough money, whatever little thing it is that in your head seems like a flaw or imperfection about you, or causes you to just feel, you know, insecure in general or inadequate and like you're not good enough. It's really ultimately just holding you back from being the person that I know you could be, being your best self, getting out there, loving life, and just doing amazing things. So in this video, I'm going to attempt to help ground you, give you a little bit of perspective on flaws and insecurities, and hopefully after this you'll be well on your way to becoming a more grounded, stable, amazing individual. The wind's going. Clip out. So turns out that was actually a pretty good angle that I was at, so I'm going to go ahead and record it here, holding the tripod in one hand, so sorry if it comes out a little bit shaky, but I'm going to do my best. So anyways, flaws and insecurities. So let's just take a look and see kind of like where that shit kind of stems from. And obviously it's the fact that, you know, not one human is alike another human. Everybody has their differences. And, you know, that's partially due to, you know, like genetic variation to ensure that a species adapts. But let's say you were like something like, I don't know, like a hydrogen ion that's completely identical to all other hydrogen ions out there. There's no such thing as insecurities when everybody's exactly the same, unless you've got just some really deep, unrooted psychological issue, but that's a whole nother story. I'm not going to attempt to deal with that right now. But just kind of looking at where insecurities and these self-proclaimed flaws actually stem from is just from not living up to these so-called societal standards of today's modern world, and, you know, just even varies from culture to culture. So let's just throw an example out there. I actually saw a video about this a little over a year ago, and it really helped me out. This short, balding ginger, shout out to Tyler. Hey, he doesn't know if I exist, but if he watches this video one day, I'm going to use one of his examples. So let's say you're insecure about being broke and just like not having enough money. So you probably think that maybe if you had, if you made $1 million this year, you'd feel pretty secure. Well, I'm going to tell you that's probably not true. See, because when you're making $1 million, you're living in neighborhoods with people making $1 million and people who are making $50 million. And, you know, you're no longer comparing yourself to just, you know, your normal human everyday, you know, $50,000, $60,000 a year person. You're comparing yourself to the millionaires. So then you think, oh, wow, well, I only make $1 million a year, and this guy or this person makes $50 million a year, and they're my neighbors. So then you feel broke and you feel poor again. And then you're like, well, maybe I need to make $50 million a year before I'm happy. And then you get to that point. Now you're in a neighborhood, you're making friends, and you're around people who are making $1 billion a year. So let's go a bit further. Maybe you're making $1 billion now. Now you're next to people who are making $50 billion a year, and it goes on. And let's say you even make like $500 billion a year. Then you're getting close to, you know, what they call old money, and old money lasts in the face of like $50 billion a year. So in short, you will never win in the comparison game. And I believe he calls it the comparison paradigm. I'm going to steal that term because I really like it. You'll never win in the comparison paradigm. And this really shed some light to me. For me, it was a little different because I'm really just into bodybuilding, and I'd always feel very just insecure because I was always, you know, comparing myself to like other, you know, bodybuilders or guys in the fitness industry. And, you know, I would get down and hard on myself. I'm just like, man, I don't have six packs, or this guy's got bigger shoulders than me, and I would always just think like, maybe if I just work out extra hard, this girl will like me, or maybe when I get like abs one day, everything will be perfect. And you know what happens is you get caught in this malicious cycle of where the future moment is always better than the current moment, and you really forget to just take a step back and look at your life and the person you are today and really just enjoy it. So I mean, for an example, you know, I'm a pretty fit dude. I'm definitely not the fittest, but I'm in shape better than most people. But let's say, I'm getting tongue twisted. What I'm trying to say is the trap that I was in is that even though I had a pretty good physique and I was in shape, I was comparing myself to people who were in better shape. And because of that, enough was never good enough for me. And I always felt inadequate, inferior, and despite having a good body, I felt very unconfident. Now, if I were to just, you know, flashback and be back in like my 17-year-old, really chubby, double chin, nerdy Yu-Gi-Oh kid body, and showing him a picture of what I look like today, that Yu-Gi-Oh kid would have freaked out and be like, wow, I look so awesome, I can't believe I did that. Life is going to be so amazing when I'm like that, and then I just get to enjoy my days. But in retrospect, the opposite happened to me. And I was actually even more miserable because I just kept comparing myself to other people and, you know, looking at other people to set the standard. And it made me kind of a little bit bitter. But luckily, I think I've kind of come into like a higher level of thinking and consciousness. And I'm at a point now to where, you know, I don't have the best body, but it's good enough for me. I'm happy. I'm secure with it. And, you know, if someone comes around, he's like even better looking than me, I'm happy for them. Another example would just be being bald. I used to fucking hate being bald. I was always like, man, this shit sucks. Can you imagine what it's like to be 23 years old and balding? Not good. Not good for the self-esteem. But you just kind of come to this point to where, you know, I don't need to compare myself to people with hair. And the point I'm trying to say here is that you will never win in the comparison paradigm. Like, whatever you're worried about or insecure about or flawed about, if you had it, that would not fix the underlying issue that you have going on. There's always going to be someone who has more than you. There's always going to be someone who's better than you at this, who's more pretty, beautiful, shorter, better looking, aesthetic, richer. You're never going to win if you play that game. So why would you play a losing game that just causes you to have these kind of mental and emotional turmoils? So for me, the moment I let go of that and that way of thinking, you know, it took me a while to actually really own up to it and live it. But now, like, I felt more grounded and just happy and secure with myself than I've felt in a long time. And that was probably one of the major concepts, would be the comparison game. Don't play it, you'll never win. And then when you take yourself out of that game, you're actually able to appreciate other people for what they are and, you know, what they do. I think another example of this would be like more pop culture, but like if you remember back in the day when Justin Bieber was like 12 years old and had all these like pop hits and all these women loved him and he was making all this money, like, you know, women and girls loved him, yeah, that's true, but especially among like the adolescent males in the day, everybody hated and talked shit about Justin Bieber. He was a subject of a lot of ridicule and jokes because, you know, let's face it, even I was probably part of that too. We're all in lower levels of thinking, and it's because, you know, we compare. We're actually jealous, envious, menvy, the man-on-man envy of what, you know, Bieber had going on back in the day, and partially because he was so young when he achieved that fame. But looking back on it, you know, when you get to that spot to where you're just secure, grounded, happy in your own skin, you can actually be happy and enjoy other people's accomplishments a lot more. And in turn, that makes you a better friend, and it just enriches your life in the long run. So don't play in the comparison paradigm. Okay, so we went ahead and talked about the comparison paradigm and how that's pretty much the root of a lot of your insecurities and self-proclaimed flaws about yourself. But I want to go ahead and hit this from a second angle as well, and hopefully after this you will really be well on your way to becoming a more grounded, confident, awesome individual. Okay, so let's go ahead and take this one step forward. Backwards. Forward or backwards. Anyways, back to the whole topic about genetics. Now, remember what we said? Nah, definitely need shades. Anyways, remember what we said about the whole genetic card and genetic variation, kind of where the whole insecurities and flaws thing even roots from the beginning? Well, look at it this way. Pretty much, you had nobody on this planet had almost any say in what they look like. You were pretty much a genetic wild card, one of X number of semen, I think it's like thousands if not millions of sperm cells, had to fight to get into that one egg to actually create the you that is you in this present day. So honestly, statistically, it's an anomaly that you're even here, because the odds of you not being you and someone else being in your shoes was definitely a lot higher. So shout out to that one little cell that beat all the other cells and made you you. So that should give you the utmost self-esteem. You're privileged to be alive, to enjoy this world we live in, and really the odds were against you to even be here from the start. But anyways, you're here, so let's get back to the problems we have today, which are the flaws and insecurities. So what I'm saying is, I'm gonna pull up a Game of Thrones reference that I really like a lot. If you don't know Game of Thrones, there's this character, Tyrion Lannister. Now, he is pretty much a short dwarf of a man, definitely a midget, and this whole show takes place in kind of like a medieval time frame. So pretty much whenever people come out as midgets, they're pretty much killed on the spot because they're deemed genetic imperfections. The only reason Tyrion's alive is because he comes from a wealthy family background, and that's the only reason he's still like alive and plays a character in the story. And he's at this pot having a conversation with Jon Snow, who at the time thinks he's a bastard child. I'm not going to spoil any Game of Thrones for you, but essentially being a bastard is almost as bad as being a midget. So the dwarf goes up to him and he calls him a bastard, and then Jon Snow gets pretty much offended and pissed off by it. Think about it in your life. Anytime someone's poked out one of your insecurities and you felt either upset or really insecure or shy about it, maybe they said you've got a belly and then you're paranoid about your weight, or whatever it may be, whatever hurtful comment someone said to you at one point in your life, think about that and try to bring forth those emotions and get into the shoes of this situation. So pretty much Tyrion calls Jon Snow a bastard. Jon Snow gets a little bit mad and pissed off, and then Tyrion goes up to him and drops some words of advice. And he goes up to him and says, you're a bastard, essentially. You are what you are. I'm paraphrasing a little bit, but kind of what I'm telling you, you are what you are. And he says, quote unquote, wear your flaws like armor, and no one can ever use them to hurt you. Now, this really resonated with me. And kind of going back to the hurtful comment thing, like the only reason a bad comment would actually hurt you or insult you is because, you know, you really are insecure and uncomfortable with a certain thing about your body or like the way you look. And throwing out a personal example out there, like with me being, you know, bald, when I was first becoming bald, when I first started shaving my head and actually embracing it, I wear this badge at work, and on my badge is the 22-year-old picture of me. Now I'm 27, but people would always like look at my head, and then they would look at my badge picture and see like this full head of hair, and they would be like, what happened to your hair? And before, I used to get really insecure about it. Like, honestly, sometimes it like shattered my self-esteem for that whole entire day, and I'd just be like, God damn it, fucking bullshit. Why am I 25? I lost all my hair. I want hair, but there's nothing I can do about it. Blah, blah, why? Victim mentality. And, you know, it used to really get to me until I pretty much accepted what I am. I'm bald. said, fuck it, got the razor, just went all the way down to the grid and said, this is who I am. I'm sick of feeling like shit about it. I'm just gonna own up to it, embrace it. Secretly blasting videos in the background with like Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson and like Jason Statham and even who's it? Vin Diesel. Oh, I had my little playlist going on of just badass bald people. And then after that, you know, kind of brainwashed myself into thinking that being bald was awesome. And, you know, actually that's probably an option for you too if you know someone has a certain insecurity that you're worried about. But anyways, getting back to the point, once I started accepting it, now it didn't happen overnight. It definitely took a couple of months before I got to that point where I was truly just comfortable about it. But now, you could tell me I'm bald, or you can say, comment on my picture, and you know what? I just kind of laugh about it, and I can crack a joke. Like usually people say, where'd all your hair go? And I'm just like, you know, it got cold, so it went south for the winter. You know, and you can just crack jokes about that. Or a lot of times I'll just kind of tell stories. I'm like, wow, God must have like such a sense of humor because, you know, I'm like bald up here, but my whole entire body is extremely hairy. Guys, I've got hair on my chest. If I showed you my legs, it looks like King Kong's jungle. And it's kind of ironic, actually. I don't have hair on my head, but you can see I'm telling you the story now and sharing you one of what was my most profound insecurities. And it's actually really funny and laughing about it. And I think you'll know that you're getting over your insecurity when you can actually poke fun at it yourself, kind of get outside your high horse, get over the ego, and really realize that whatever thing you think is a flaw is just part of you, and it's beautiful, and, you know, live your life. Things are amazing. Wear it like armor. Got to do this real quick before the wind comes back. What you can't fix, you feature. Now granted, to some degree you have control over your appearance, like getting a haircut, working out, getting in shape, losing weight, controlling your diet so you feel happier, healthier, in the zone, better. But guys, if you're doing all that already, good enough is good enough. Enjoy it. Wear those flaws like armor. Be your best self. Enjoy life. Life's too short to be insecure, and give in to these insecurities, and I know you can be awesome and do amazing things and really be your best self and get up and get out there. Now I'm gonna go ahead and finish this video off. There's one point I did want to add on. I was gonna actually talk about why flaws and insecurities are actually a really good thing for you and really beneficial to your life. But this had me going off on a bunch of other tangents. So I think I'm going to break it up into a second video. So stay tuned. Be ready. My next one is going to be talking about perfections and why perfections are not as perfect as you think they are, and why perfect really just doesn't even exist. Completely subjective, but also kind of talking about how to accept that good enough is good enough. I'm really excited about this next topic. I think it's got a lot of beneficial content for you guys, and it's going to really go hand in hand with what we talked about here today as far as, you know, flaws and insecurities and overcoming that. But anyways, I think I need to get one of these Lime bikes and get back to my car because I don't know where I parked. I actually rode one for the first time today in, God, who knows, 15 years, and I forgot how fun and hard it is to actually ride a fucking bicycle. But it's cool. I'm ready to joyride back like a little emissary of self-development, helping people out. Anyways, guys, enjoy your day. You're beautiful. I know you can do it. 14RN, sign out. I'll see you on the next one.